She pretended to be a lonely girl online just to spy on me. But when I found out it was my own sister hiding behind the fake account, our entire family fell apart overnight. It all started with a DM. I was sitting on my bed, scrolling aimlessly through my phone, the usual haze of school stress, social pressure, and my own tangled thoughts clouding my mind. Being 17 felt like drowning sometimes. No matter how many people I had around me, classmates, teammates, family, I still felt weirdly alone. That's when I saw the message. Hey, I know this is random, but I saw your post and I just wanted to say, you're not alone. It came from an account named at SagilalJenny1998. No profile picture, barely any posts. Normally, I'd ignore it, but something about the message felt different. Like it wasn't trying too hard to be nice. It felt honest. I typed back, thanks. Didn't expect anyone to notice that post. She replied in seconds. I notice everything. I'm a good listener. Want to talk? And that's how it began. A friendship I didn't even realize I needed. We started talking daily. Messaging turned into voice notes, then late night combos where we shared our fears, our regrets, the things we couldn't say out loud to anyone else. She never pressured me, never judged. She just got me. She knew the exact words to say when I was upset about my parents fighting again, or when I got benched during varsity soccer, or when my so-called best friend ditched me at a party. Jenny would write stuff like, "You give too much of yourself to people who don't see your worth. You're not invisible to me." Sometimes I'd stare at those messages and feel tears prick the corners of my eyes. I hadn't even cried in front of anyone in years. I didn't tell my real-life friends about Jenny. I didn't even think about telling my family, especially not my sister, Amanda. She and I had been walking on eggshells for months. We used to be close, but high school changed that. Amanda was always the golden child, honor roll track captain, the one who got asked to prom 3 times and still turned everyone down. She was perfect, and she made sure I knew it. Lately, she'd been all in my business, asking questions about where I was going, who I was texting, why I looked tired. At first, I thought she was just being her usual annoying self, but there was something off, a little too interested. The weird part was, whenever I mentioned something to Jenny about my sister bugging me or how she always seemed to know what was going on in my life, Jenny already seemed to know too. Like she'd say, maybe she's just trying to control you. She doesn't get you like I do. It felt validating, like someone was finally on my side. But I had no idea that the girl who felt like a safe place was actually the person who would destroy everything. As the weeks passed, I found myself addicted to talking to Jenny. It was like therapy, except it didn't cost anything, and I could be fully, brutally honest. I told her things I hadn't even whispered to myself in the mirror, like how I felt like a ghost in my own house, like how my dad's cold silence scared me more than his yelling ever did, like how Amanda used to be my best friend before she became my biggest critic, like how sometimes I wondered if anyone would actually miss me if I just disappeared. Jenny would always answer with these raw, compassionate words that made me feel like I wasn't insane for thinking those things. She once wrote, "Pain has a way of isolating people, but I see your pain. I feel it too." I'd never felt that kind of emotional intimacy before. I even started falling for her, which sounds stupid, right? Falling for someone I hadn't even video called with? But when someone knows your soul better than anyone else, looks don't even matter. It's the connection that gets you. One night, I confessed it. I sent her a message that said, "I don't know what this is, or if it's weird, but I think I'm catching feelings." There was a long pause. 10 minutes. Then 15, no reply. Just when I started regretting everything, she finally wrote back, "I feel the same. I just didn't know if you were ready to hear that." I remember sitting there, heart pounding, feeling like I was finally being chosen. Not as someone's second option, not as the overlooked younger sibling, not as a background character in someone else's story, but as me. Things got intense after that. We started flirting, dreaming together, planning to meet. She told me she lived a few towns over and had been homeschooled due to anxiety. She said I was the first person she'd trusted in years. But something didn't sit right. Every time I tried to set up a FaceTime call, she'd have an excuse. Bad Wi-Fi. Too nervous. Not wearing makeup. Maybe tomorrow. I let it slide. Love makes you blind, they say. Or maybe it just makes you hopeful. Then, one night, while talking to Amanda, the first time we weren't arguing in weeks, she casually mentioned something that made my blood run cold. She said, "You should stop trusting people online. You never really know who you're talking to." I asked her what she meant. She gave me this tight smile and said, "Some people aren't who they pretend to be." It felt like a warning. I didn't say anything, but something in my gut shifted. And then, the unraveling began. I didn't want to believe it. Not even a little. The thought that Jenny, the one person I felt truly seen by, could be fake? It sounded like some cruel plot twist from a teen drama. But Amanda's weird smile haunted me. Something in her tone, the way she said, "Some people aren't who they pretend to be." It kept replaying in my mind like a broken record. That night, I couldn't sleep. My room felt too quiet, too dark. Every creak of the floor, every whisper of wind sounded like a secret trying to tell me something. So I did something I hadn't done before. I opened Jenny's messages and started scrolling up, all the way to the beginning. Reading her words again, this time with suspicion instead of comfort, it was like a different language. So many of the things she said mirrored moments from my actual life. Specifics only someone close to me would know. Jenny mentioned things I never posted publicly. How would some random stranger know about my panic attacks after our parents' fight last Thanksgiving? Or the way I flinch when Dad slams the cabinet doors in the kitchen? She even quoted something I wrote in my personal notebook once. A line I swore no one had ever seen. My stomach flipped. I ran to my closet, dug through the showbox where I kept my old journals, and opened one of the pages. There it was. "I don't know how to be okay when everyone expects me to be." Jenny had sent me that exact line in a message 2 weeks ago. Word for word. I started sweating. My hands were shaking. Was I going insane? Or was I being watched? I pulled up her profile again. Still no real posts. Just a few vague quotes and some generic selfies that could have come from anywhere. I reverse image searched one of them, and sure enough, it was from some stock photography site. Jenny was a lie. But who was behind it? I didn't want to believe it was Amanda. I tried thinking of any other possibility. Maybe a classmate pulling some weird prank. Maybe even an ex-friend trying to mess with me. But the more I thought about it, the clearer the pattern became. Jenny always knew how to manipulate me emotionally, exactly the way Amanda could when we were younger. The way she would say just enough to make me trust her, just enough to get inside my head. And then there were the timings. Whenever I was chatting with Jenny late at night, Amanda would never come to my room like she sometimes did to steal my charger or complain about the Wi-Fi. It was like she was busy, like she had something else going on. I had to be sure. So I set a trap. The next night, I messaged Jenny. "Hey, I want to send you something personal." A letter I wrote for my sister that I never gave her. Of course, there was no real letter. I made it up. But I added a fake, emotional detail about Amanda, something sensitive enough that if it got brought up in real life, I'd know Jenny was Amanda. The next morning, over breakfast, Amanda sat across from me, scrolling on her phone like always. She looked normal, calm, too calm. And then she said it. "So, you still write letters you never give people?" I froze. My spoon clinked against the bowl. "What?" She shrugged. "I don't know. I just think it's kinda passive aggressive. If you've got something to say it to their face." My heart pounded so loud, I thought the whole kitchen could hear it. That was it. That was all I needed. I got up, walked straight to her room, and locked the door behind me. My sister was Jenny. I didn't confront her right away. I couldn't. I sat on her bed in silence, trying not to scream, trying not to break. The betrayal hit harder than I ever thought possible. I stared around her room, the neatly stacked books, the academic medals, the lavender-scented candles. Everything about Amanda screamed perfect. She was the girl everyone respected, the one teachers adored, the one who gave college advice to freshmen in the hallways. And yet, she was the same person who pretended to be someone else online just to spy on me, to gain my trust, to feed off my emotions like some kind of manipulative experiment. Why? The door opened. She stepped in, surprised to see me there. "What are you doing?" I stood up, phone in hand, open to Jenny's messages. "You're Jenny." Her face dropped. She didn't even deny it. Amanda looked at me, guilt painted across her face like a fresh bruise. She sat down slowly on the edge of her bed and let out a shaky breath. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. "You catfished me, Amanda. You pretended to be someone else. You made me fall for you." Her eyes watered. "I was trying to help you." "Help me?" She flinched at my tone. "I saw how you were withdrawing. How you stopped talking to everyone. How you locked yourself in your room for days. I didn't know what else to do. You wouldn't talk to me. You hated me." I shook my head. "So your solution was to lie to me?" Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Now," I thought, "if I could get you to open up through someone else, maybe I could understand you better. Maybe I could protect you. I didn't expect you to get attached. I thought I could back off once I knew you were okay. But you didn't back off. You kept going. You let me think someone finally understood me. You let me think someone loved me." Amanda covered her face with her hands. "I didn't know what to do. You said things to me, as Jenny, that you never would have said in real life. It made me realize how much I'd failed you as a sister. And I didn't want to lose that connection." I was crying now too, but my tears were bitter, angry. "You didn't lose a connection. You destroyed it." She looked up at me, broken. "I'm sorry." But sorry wasn't enough. Not for what she did. Not for how she made me feel. Not for making me question my own reality. I left her room without another word. By the time the truth came out, and it did come out, loud and messy, our family cracked wide open. Mom and Dad were furious. Not just at Amanda, but at everything that had been bubbling under the surface. The secrets, the pressure, the emotional walls none of us dared to tear down. Amanda was grounded for months. She lost her track team captaincy. She lost my trust. And I lost the only safe space I thought I had. Everything changed after that night. Not gradually. Not gently. It all collapsed, fast, violent, and loud. The night I found out Jenny was Amanda, I didn't sleep. I didn't eat the next morning. I didn't even speak to anyone. It felt like every word I'd shared, every feeling I confessed, had been stolen, used against me by the one person who was supposed to protect me. When Mom found out, she was devastated. Not just because of what Amanda had done, but because of how blind she'd been to how broken we both were. She kept repeating, "How did it get this bad without us knowing?" And Dad, he didn't say much at all, but I could see it in his face. The guilt, the shame, the disappointment that neither of his daughters had come to him. That we'd chosen lies and secrets over family. Amanda didn't fight the punishment. She didn't argue. She accepted every restriction, every consequence, without complaint. But the worst punishment wasn't from our parents. It was me. I couldn't even look at her. Weeks passed. Then a month. We became strangers under the same roof. We used to bump into each other in the hallway and make dumb jokes, even when we were mad. But now, there was silence. Always silence. And behind it, 1,000 things unsaid. She left sticky notes on my door sometimes. "I made a mistake. I miss my sister. Please let me fix this." But I didn't reply. I was still trying to process everything. And maybe I was afraid that if I opened that door again, I'd get hurt all over. Because when trust is shattered, it doesn't rebuild overnight. especially not when it's your own sister who broke it. But grief has a way of softening you, not because you forget, but because anger burns hot, and when it's gone, you're left with ashes and questions. One night, a few months after everything, I found myself scrolling through my old messages with Jenny. I don't know why. Maybe out of nostalgia, maybe out of pain. But as I read through our conversations, something strange happened. I realized I missed her, even though she never existed, even though it was all fake. Because buried inside those lies were truths. The comfort I felt, the validation, the connection, it was all real, even if the face behind it wasn't. And that's when the hardest realization hit me. That version of Jenny, the one who listened, who cared, who understood me, she was Amanda. Or at least, the Amanda I didn't know anymore. So maybe, that meant there was still a chance. The next morning, I knocked on her door. She opened it slowly, eyes wide like she thought I was there to yell. Instead, I said, "Can we talk?" She nodded, instantly tearing up. We sat on the floor, not like enemies, not like broken people, just as two sisters who had hurt each other deeply and wanted to stop bleeding. I asked her everything. Why she did it, why she didn't stop, why she let it get so far. She told me the full truth. She said it started because she noticed me slipping away from her, from everyone. I was quiet, isolated, angry, and every time she tried to reach me as Amanda, I shut her out. So she created Jenny. At first, just to see if I was okay. But then, when I opened up, when I started sharing pieces of myself, she got addicted to it. Addicted to finally understanding me in a way she hadn't in years. She said she was scared that if she revealed the truth, I'd never forgive her. She was right, but she also didn't understand how deep the wound had gone. How being lied to, especially by someone I trusted, made me question every other relationship in my life. I know I broke something in you, she whispered, but I swear to God, I didn't do it to hurt you. I did it because I missed you, because I wanted to know the version of you that you don't show anyone. I broke down then, because despite it all, I missed her too. Not the liar, not the manipulator, but the sister I grew up with. The one who held my hand during storms, the one who stayed up late watching stupid movies with me, the one who knew how to make me laugh when everything sucked. We cried for a long time, not just for what she did, but for what we lost. And in that silence, in that moment of shared grief, something started to heal. Not everything, not perfectly, but enough to breathe again. After that, we took slow steps. We started talking more about real things, hard things. No more fake profiles. No more pretending. She gave me access to all her accounts, not because I asked, but because she wanted to prove she had nothing left to hide. And I started therapy, not just for the fallout, but for everything I'd buried. It helped, more than I expected. Eventually, I wrote a letter, a real one this time. I gave it to Amanda in person. It didn't say much, just that I was trying, that I wanted to rebuild what we had, that I didn't forgive her completely, but I was on my way. She cried when she read it. We hugged, for the first time in nearly a year. And it didn't feel fake. It didn't feel forced. It felt like family. Because here's the thing no one tells you. Sometimes, the deepest betrayals come from people who love you the most. Not because they don't care, but because they care in the wrong way. Because they're scared. Because they're human. And healing? It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet, patient, messy. But it's possible. So yeah, my sister pretended to be a lonely girl online just to spy on me. And when I found out, our entire family fell apart overnight. But that's not where our story ends. Because we're still here. Still trying. Still learning how to be sisters again. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.